Oh, that's good. Thank you for telling me.
We've got the word. We're recording. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Complete Sports Media's podcast on the Complete Media Network. I'm your host, Darren Campbell, and joining me on a Sunday this time instead of a Monday, Jason Cameron. Hey, Jason, how's it going?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. I've just seen some excellent basketball today that just finished, and I couldn't be happier. It was good games, good games, good games.
Awesome. Yeah. Geez. That first game, can't wait to get into talking about that first game. Looks like Hawks were going to blow them out. I don't know how the Sixers came all the way back like that, but almost pulled it out. It was an incredible miracle comeback, but the Hawks did gain first blood in that one. But why don't we talk about the game that just finished, just as we were coming to air, the Game 7 between the Clippers and the Mavericks, and LA clawed their way back from 3 games to 2 down and won 2 huge games to finish off the series and take it. What were your impressions of that final game?
I was impressed. I was impressed by the resilience that the Clippers showed. And I was impressed with the growth that Luka is still going through.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say this. I kind of thought in my mind that the Clippers should win this game. And for one reason only. That's because their 2 superstars, the Paul George and Kawhi Leonard, actually have the experience to know what to do to push through in an important game of this magnitude.
Yeah.
And Luka is still figuring that out.
Right. Yeah.
That was the reason why I thought the Clippers would win. And that's what happened. And then their veterans also stepped up. I think Markieff Morris had like over 20 points, 23 points. Not Markieff, sorry, Marcus Morris. Markieff's the other brother. So Marcus Morris had 23 points. Like, though their guys stepped up and they got buckets when they needed to get buckets. And the Mavs just didn't have enough. They couldn't hang. Not to say that Luka didn't have a fantastic game. Let me see. 46 points. All right. So 14 assists, 7 rebounds. He did pretty good. He did pretty good. You know what I mean? But at the same time, the Mavs didn't make shots at the end of the game where the Clippers did, and that was the difference. And another thing I want to point out in this game, because the guy's just been disappointing me the entire series because he didn't show up, and that was Kristaps Porzingis. If that guy had decided to show up for any one of these 2 games that the Mavs lost, they win. They win the series. Yeah. But I'm looking at the offense and I go, does he even slash to the hoop anymore? No. I swear, most of the time, he's just hanging out at the 3-point line and not even involved in the offense.
I know.
What are you doing? You used to be really good. I have no idea what's going on with that guy. Go on.
Yeah. 7'3", it looked like the Mavericks were going to have that size advantage in the series because the Clippers really go for small ball most of the time. And, they were able to have Boban in there and Kristaps at the same time. And you thought, they'd have a rebounding advantage, a lot of second chance points, a lot of good inside presence there. If they'd start double teaming, Luka and Kristaps, his numbers, they weren't horrible today. 16 points, 11 rebounds, but he needs to be more of a factor there. He needs to be that secondary guy. He needs to be able to, take the pressure off of Luka. Luka can't do it all himself, and it was really too bad that he doesn't have the same kind of help that some of the other superstars in the league have.
Yeah, and that literally is the difference.
Yeah.
Like you could actually argue that it was literally the only person that really helped him on those wins when the Mavs won was kind of like Tim Hardaway Jr.
Yeah.
On big wins, Tim Hardaway Jr. really showed up,
right.
But he needed more help.
Yeah.
But you could say too that he kind of forced this Game 7 on his own.
Yeah.
So he grew from his last playoff series in the bubble to this time, he's growing, and which is kind of scary because now he has this experience and now he has a better understanding of what to do and how to conduct his orchestra, his offense, when he comes back to this position again, which he will be back here again. Let's not kid ourselves. The guy's just, this is like what, his third year, second year in the league? Yeah. So yeah, he's incredible. He's incredible. He almost had a 46-point triple-double, all right?
Incredible.
And in a losing effort. But at the same time, this kid is going to be a problem, but he needs more help. And I thought Porzingis could have been that person, but the more I see him play, the more I'm like, well, maybe, I guess he's not that guy. He used to be that guy, but he's not that guy anymore.
And Dallas's bench really let them down. Today, they only had 6 points from their bench, while the Clippers got a big contribution. They ended up getting 27 points off their bench. They really relied a lot on Marcus Morris today. He had some great outside shooting. Paul George played pretty decent, 22, 10, and 6 for him. And Kawhi, man, he just so often proves how lethal of a scorer he is. He's probably the best jump shooter that doesn't go for threes all the time. He just finds open areas, and he's just deadly. He's just so incredibly proficient. When he finds an open space, he can just hit 2 points, 2 points, 2 points every time down the floor. And when teams start missing 3-pointers, Clippers just start getting a lead, and they keep out there. If he gets off the floor, it seems like the Mavericks were always catching up, but as soon as Kawhi came back in, he was just able to get those 2-point buckets on and on and on, occasional 3-pointer, but man, he is just such a deadly shooter.
Once he gets to his spot, it's kind of over. Like if he's on, or if he has to say, well, I guess I got to put the team on my back again, then it's over. Like he's proven that he can do that. He's proven that he's a playoff performer. He's proven that in the biggest games, that guy really, really shows up.
Yeah.
And that's something that Luka is still developing. Right. And for sure he will get there, but it just wasn't his time at this point in time. Yeah,
and Kawhi just finished 1 assist shy of a triple-double, and just really proved it that he is such a superior superstar. There was so much talk in LA about when LeBron came to LA and got AD to come over there. They had to kind of mortgage the farm, but they were able to win in the bubble, and it looked like, okay, this is going to work. We're going to start a new dynasty here. When Kawhi decided to leave Toronto and go to the other LA team, and he said, I want Paul George here. Then it looked like these two LA teams were going to be competing for championships, going all the way to the Western Conference Final. Lakers are gone. Clippers are moving on. Big shock for you?
Yes and no. I would have expected the Lakers to move on if AD had stayed healthy.
Sure.
He did not. He tried to give it a go in that last series against the Suns, and then he was immediately pulled. But the reason why he was immediately pulled too, the Suns sense blood in the water. They go, oh, he's weak. Great. Attack him. And so they attacked his lateral movement. They went at him.
Sure.
And they got him out of the game pretty quick. It was smart. A very smart and astute move by the Suns.
Yep.
So, yes, I'm not surprised, because LeBron, being the elder statesman that he is now, he just doesn't have it in him to continue to keep carrying a team forward. Sure. He just doesn't have that in him. Not to say that he didn't have a great series or a great game. I think it was like he actually had himself a very, very good game. I believe LeBron had 29 points, 9 rebounds, 7 assists in that game.
Right.
So it's not a bad game. It's not a bad game. But unfortunately, LeBron needed to have more like 37 points, 10 rebounds. He needed more. And he just couldn't provide more. He's not there anymore. He's not the guy anymore.
Yeah, he might be human. We kept being shocked every year. He's getting into his mid-30s, and he seems to be as good or better than he ever has been. So we just kind of expected year after year that he would will his team to the final, no matter what guys went down. He would, pull in a Roomba, pull in a, this kind of a guy, that kind of a guy, whoever, and just, assemble a team that could make it. But yeah, this year they gave up much too much for AD. Their bench and their secondary players are just really not able to jump on when they get the opportunity. You made a comment about a week ago of how many great players came from there that you can see in the league that are stars now.
Yes.
You sent a text and you just said, can you believe all these guys were on the Lakers a couple of years ago and now they're stars in other places? Do you remember that text?
Yes, I do. I remember the text because I remember the fact that you talk about Julian Randle, you talk about Jordan Clarkson, you talk about Brandon Ingram, you talk about Lonzo Ball. All four of those guys are doing fantastic since they've left the Lakers. Yeah. All four of those guys had to leave because LeBron's is like, I don't see any value here, so you guys gotta go. Yeah. And then they left. And now they're doing fantastic. And probably LeBron is kind of right in respect because I don't think that system that they were in was going to benefit them anyways. Sure. And so they flourished in other places. But it just goes to show how much they had to give up along with their first rounds and whatever, how many draft picks they had to give up. I have no idea. I can't remember that. But it was a lot. And so you see how much they had to give up. And now that they have this team that they're kind of saddled with, because I believe they don't have a lot of wiggle room anymore because of the contracts with these players that they have on the team. This is their team going forward. That's it. That's what they got. They can do a little bit of changes here and there. This is it going forward. So they're going to have to pray that for the next season that AD can stay somewhat healthy. Yeah. At least if he's going to get injured, which he probably will, during the regular season, that at least through the playoffs that he's super healthy so that they can make another run, because it's pretty obvious now after this that they absolutely need AD to challenge for a championship.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny that Charles Barkley started calling them street clothes, and I don't see any of the Lakers being happy with Charles saying that and really making quite a start of a statement, trying to make people laugh. But unfortunately, it's followed AD around for his whole career, and he just doesn't have that ability to stay healthy.
No, he doesn't, and it's a problem with everybody that I can see anyways in the league for years, decades. You're above 7 foot, your body just doesn't hold up like the rest of everybody else's. It just doesn't. But especially in AD's case, he's fragile. His body's fragile. Anything can happen, and then all of a sudden he's out. And I give him credit. He did try to give it a go, but the Suns knew that he's compromised. So we're just going to keep testing him until we get him out of the game. That's exactly what they did.
I couldn't believe to see the list of injuries that he's had this year, and then to go back in his career, how many ailments and problems he's had and how many games he's had to miss in his career. And you're right. When you're 7 foot tall, you just don't seem to have that ability to stay completely healthy. And that first game today really was an example of that. Joel Embiid was banged up coming in. He was questionable. They didn't even know if he's going to be able to play. And he played. He didn't play amazing early, but stayed in there the whole entire game. Gave the Hawks the biggest run for their money. It looked like so often in this game, it was just going to be a blowout. They were up by 20 and 25, and it stayed that way for a very, very, very long time. And then I don't know what the Hawks did. They just seemed to come off the gas a bit, weren't hitting any shots anymore, and the Sixers almost pulled off this comeback.
It was amazing because the comeback literally happened in the last 4 to 3 minutes of the game, where you're just like, what's going on here? Are they making a run? Weren't they just down by 20? And then they did it. I will say this, Doc Rivers had an amazing scheme for putting pressure. And that's the way that the Sixers decided to. And that's another thing that's very scary about the 76ers. When they decide to really play defense and bear down, that's ridiculously scary, man. Yeah. They turned the Hawks over it seemed like every other play in the last 3 minutes of the game. They just kept turning them over. And I'm like, wow, man, like that's something that
Pressure. The
the
pressure they
Hawks.
were putting on was amazing, wasn't it? That pressure.
Oh, it was
Yeah.
amazing. It
Yeah.
was absolutely amazing. That's something that the Hawks head coach is going to have to address because he's like, oh man, we can't have that happen again because they almost fell apart at
Yes.
the end. And the guy that actually came to their rescue and cemented the deal with Bogdanovich, hit that timely three with like less than a minute left,
Yeah.
and then hit his free throws to salt the win. Like
Yeah.
that was what saved them, man. That literally was it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they probably lose this game that they
Yeah.
had well in hand up
Gee.
until the last couple of minutes. It just goes to show for me the game is never over until it's actually over. You got to play right to the end.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah. Yeah, I was really surprised that Hawks were handing it to them so badly. They outscored them 42-27 in the first quarter, 32-27 in the second. So they had a huge lead going into halftime. It still was, very, very Hawks advantage going into the fourth quarter, but Sixers outscored them 41-29 in that fourth and made it a 4-point game. There was some crazy plays at the end there where you're like, oh, well, they're 5 points ahead. There's 10 seconds left. All of a sudden, holy cow, he steals the ball. Boom. Now it's down to 3. Oh, we, just had so many crazy plays in those last 2 minutes. But yeah, Bogdanovich was a great 21 points and he's a lethal scorer, huge free agent pickup for them. I think understated in a lot of areas, but I think a lot of people didn't expect him to be able to contribute this well to them, but he's a really deadly scorer when he gets an opportunity. And John Collins also had a great game for them, 21 points. I've always liked his game. Clint Capella is a defensive presence in there. He gets his rebounds. And the Hawks are great. I'd be shocked if they knocked off the Sixers being the number 1 seed here, but I think this is going to be a super fun series.
I think it's going to be a great series because now that you have Trey Young literally coming into his own, they keep showing that stat of like the first 6 or 7 playoff games for anybody. He's right up there with the greats right now.
Yeah.
Like he's right up there with the greatest. And again, I point to the fact that Nate McMillan is his head coach and the fact that he's really grown into the position of being a true point guard of when to score and when to pass. Like you can see it now. Like it's like, wow, this has really been paying dividends. I always thought from the beginning, I said that from the beginning of this year, the Hawks lineup looks deadly. I said that, and I was like, man, these guys look good. Like if they can figure it out, they're going to be really tough to deal with. And from this series right now, you're just like, okay, they took game 1 in the 76ers house.
Yeah.
This is going to be pretty good. It's going to be pretty good. They almost gave it back to them, but they didn't. They won the game. So
you look at this series and you look at Doc Rivers and you think he's going to be able to outcoach pretty much everybody in the league. He's, one of the most brilliant minds, but Nate McMillan really has done wonders. You've mentioned him many times as being such a great coach with Trey Young. Trey Young last year had his struggles. He turned the ball over way too much, took a lot of shots that he shouldn't take. Nate has really reeled him in and really showed him how to be a true point guard. And, he's a great facilitator. He's leading the league this year in float shots, and leading the league in assists off of drives. So, when he's able to utilize that skill and that speed, he's deadly. He's being able to get those other guys involved. And the Hawks are a really, really tough team with Nate as the coach and, being able to help Trey become such a better guard.
Yeah. And especially now that Trey literally, once he does that drive, you have one of 2 things that you need to do. Either give him the floater or you take away the lob, but you can't give him both. You got to take one of those things away. And he's savvy enough to go, oh, so you're going to take away the floater, lob? Like, because Capella's going to be right there in the dunker spot, ready to dunk the ball. So, like it's going to be tough, but I'm just going to say this. I don't think the 76ers are going to wait for the next game to finally turn on their defense. I think that's just going to be an immediate thing. I think the Hawks are going to really going to feel the wrath because when the 76ers, as shown, when they want to turn up their defensive pressure, it's amazing.
Yeah.
It really is. It's amazing.
Ben Simmons struggled from the free throw line again. He's got to really shore that up. That's his biggest weakness. That's something that teams are exploiting. That really bit them today. If they would have had those, I think he missed 7 times from the free throw line today. If they would have had those 7 points, it's a different game. I hope he goes back to the drawing board this offseason and figures out that shot and, becomes a half decent free throw shooter. I think he was maybe 3 out of 9 or something like that today. Maybe 3 out of 10, I think it was. Not very good for a guy that's handling the ball that much.
No, not very good at all. Not very good at all. The knock on Ben Simmons has always been like, well, it would be great if he could develop like a jump shot, which is just the most ridiculous thing for anybody to say because he's in the NBA, right? But that's kind of the problem. Like, so if he could develop a jump shot, then that means his free throw shooting would obviously exponentially benefit from him actually having a jump shot. So I think that's something that he should be working on. I don't know what to say about that. Like it's kind of like a fundamental thing that every basketball player needs is a jump shot. So I don't know. But again, I just want to point to Young, 35 points, 10 assists in this game. And yeah, he was magnificent. And Embiid, even with a bum leg, 39 points, 9 rebounds. Not bad. Not bad.
Yeah. On one leg, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Yesterday there was a Titanic matchup that I loved. I can't believe how great this series has the potential to be. The Bucks and the Nets, 2 teams with so many weapons. A lot of people are picking teams. I've heard, a lot of people on the Milwaukee side say they got that finally last piece with Drew Holiday. A lot of people picking the Nets, obviously, because of their big 3. But it was pretty shocking yesterday in the first minute, James Harden going down, and the Nets still were able to pull out this victory. That's pretty incredible to show their resilience, and they've been able to have moving parts all year because none of these guys have been healthy all season long. But must have been pretty tough for Steve Nash and that coaching staff to realize, oh man, our main guy, he's out already 1 minute in, but they regrouped and had a big win.
Yeah, like it would suck for Steve since he's a Hall of Fame point guard or soon to be anyways. Yeah. That all of a sudden Harden's gone and he just goes, oh, he's going to yeah, it doesn't look like he's coming back. Okay. Change of plans. But they were able to change their plans pretty quick on the fly because you know what? They actually have experience doing that. They games that through the regular season, having to deal with all the various injuries. And I'm going to be honest, man, even if Harden's gone, Nets can still they can win this series with just the 2 of them.
Yeah.
They can win this series. It is so ridiculous for me to say that, but yeah, they can still win the series without the 2 of them. I love what Drew Holiday had to say at the end in the post game interview, where he goes, "Really sucks that James got hurt and everything. Good for us. Better for us." Yeah. And I loved how calmly he said it. It's like, yeah, it really sucks, but really good for us. Really good. and I honestly, the injury looked bad enough to me. I don't know if he's going to even be able to come back for this series.
No, crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a huge blow. Blake Griffin stepped up, probably had his best game in years. He was really great interior presence, 18 points and 14 rebounds. He's been able to suddenly get some legs where you thought his injury woes had just basically left him on the ground, a little small vertical, but suddenly, yes, he's been reborn there, had a fantastic game.
Yeah, like you thought he was grounded, like his flight skills were grounded. But I guess getting out of Detroit maybe just uplifted him. Now he's like, no, I think I can take off again. I think I can be not the Blake of old, but I can at least fly and I can dunk a little bit more. and what I had been for the last couple of years, which was not at all. So, and then Kyrie Irving with 25 points, 8 assists. KD again, solid as always, 29 points, 10 rebounds. I love the fact that they actually have KD. They had Tucker pretty much matched up with KD for most of the game.
Yeah.
I think they stay with that because it's KD. At the end of the day, he's going to get his points. You're just going to try to make it tough for him, and Tucker definitely can do that. He's a rugged defender and he's physical. So and he did a great job on that. At least I thought.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. The other guy that stepped up, obviously, they needed a guard to step up when Harden went down, and Mike James came in, played 30 minutes, was a really good facilitator and was really able to get his energy up. Fantastic that he was able to step up. He had played almost nothing in that previous series. He comes in and he's played all over the world. He has been a world traveler with his basketball career. He has played in Croatia, Israel, Greece, played in Moscow. He played in Italy. He's played in Barcelona. He's played just all over the place. It's crazy. What a basketball story, and really cool to see a guy later in life finally get an NBA shot, having, to bounce around a little bit, but thrust into the spotlight and played great this game.
Yeah, he really did. I think they found themselves a little hidden gem by getting him on the team when they did. So, and I know that from the last team he was on, he was a star. Yeah. He was a star on that team, right? But he had a difference of opinion, I guess, with the management from that team. So they basically said, you can go. And he said, I will. I'm going to go to that other league that's like the best. I'm going to go to the best one. I'll talk to you guys later. And that was a good move on his part. Kind of cool too that Mike James has actually been able to go all over the world like that. So now he actually has that worldly experience, and he knows what perseverance is all about. He knows what the dedication to the craft is all about, because it took him that long to get to this point. Now that he's here, look at that. He's prepared, he's ready, and he's in the playoffs. That's amazing.
Yeah, it's really cool. Yeah. I think it was Joel Embiid that said something to him. It said, I think point guards have that ability to jump from Europe or other leagues in the world and come into the NBA and still be able to be really quite dynamic, because no matter what team is out there, usually their point guard is one of their best players on the team. So no matter where in the world you're facing some really good talent, you're having to handle the ball so much, you're having to, protect it, dish it, you have to be able to shoot it too. And he said big guys maybe have a harder time to make that transition because there's not the same type of talent level big men around the world as there is in the NBA. So yeah, pretty good point, I thought.
No, that's an excellent point. That's an excellent point, because he's absolutely right. Because for most of the time, like, your guards, or one of them guards, have to be probably one of your best players on the team. And so he's going up against some of the best players on other teams in other countries, so he has that experience. And then going back to the Bucks, though, Giannis had a great game, 34 points, 11 rebounds, and Holiday, 17 points, 9 rebounds, 6 assists. The only thing that really hampered the Bucks in winning this game was the fact that they missed all their 3-point shots.
Jeez, yeah.
They didn't hit any threes, man. Yeah. They didn't hit any threes, and that was really the difference. Yeah.
6 for 30 from downtown, and we've heard lots. You live and die by the jump shot. Once it wasn't falling, they needed to change it up, but they just kept shooting from outside, and possession after possession, they were coming away with nothing. And that was just definitely one of the biggest factors.
Yeah, it was a huge factor. But at the end of the day, though, they're not going to shoot like that the next game. I guarantee you that. They're going to hit a couple more threes for the game 2 for sure.
Yeah, Bryn Forbes had been phenomenal in that previous series against Boston. Only had 5 points in this one. A lot of their deadly outside shooters just were cold this game. I don't know why. Brooklyn got the first game, and even though Harden wasn't there, hopefully it's not too serious for Brooklyn and they can get him back and have the big three. But I'm really looking forward to this series. I think both teams are very, very evenly matched, and I think it's going to go long. I almost guarantee it. So tomorrow we've got game one between the Nuggets and the Suns. I think another phenomenal series. Both teams have had really, really, really good years. What do you expect we're going to see out of this one?
I expect to see a good series, but I still expect the Suns to come away with the win in this series. And I expect them to come away with the win because of the fact that, again, to harp on this, because of the fact that Joker's been playing so well, but the fact that Jamal Murray is not there is still, it's going to hamper them. It's going to cause them some grief that they don't have that guy there. Yeah. And the Suns will have all of their weapons available. And it looks like Chris Paul has actually got over his shoulder contusion stinger injury to the point that I think he's going to be good to go, especially with this time off and the treatment that he's gotten. I think he's going to be great. The Nuggets, luckily, have had a lot of their young guys step up. Monte Morris and Michael Porter Jr. being two of the keys in their win against the Trailblazers. But the Trailblazers the thing that they need to shore up for next year or for every year, Dame deserves more help than what he got. They need they need players that can play defense, because that's their Achilles heel in the Trailblazers. They had nobody that play some defense, man, and that's their problem. They need defense. They need defense going forward. But anyways, Nuggets versus the Suns. I think the Suns win this in 6. I think the Joker has enough to get 2 games, but I don't think he'll have enough help to win the series.
My pick for the final was the Suns against the Nets, and I'm still on track. We'll see how it's coming together. My bracket's been really good. I've been getting all the series right so far, so I feel good. $1 million to the person that gets the perfect bracket. So I'm still on track for that. We'll see if it keeps together. But a lot of people had the Lakers beating the Suns. Nets, obviously have been a favorite, but didn't finish number 1 overall. So those were my picks. We're talking about the Joker. He outplayed Nurkic so badly. They were former teammates. It was just not even close. Jokic has had such a phenomenal year, and by all accounts, everybody thinks he's going to win the MVP. I saw a really interesting article about him, and he's going to make the record books. If he gets the MVP, he will be the lowest ever draft pick to win the MVP in NBA history. Really neat. He was drafted 41st overall in the 2014 draft. And there's only 2 other guys that were non-lottery picks to win the MVP before. We've been talking about both of them today in that Nets Bucks series. Giannis Antetokounmpo and Steve Nash winning it twice. And they're the only 2 guys that have ever won it that weren't lottery picks. So to draft him number 41 overall, and for him to come through with an MVP year, it's just unprecedented.
Yeah, it's actually unbelievable. That is, I had no idea. I did not realize that at all. So that is well, credit to their scouting staff for the Nuggets to go, I think we got a gem here, boys. We got a steal. We got ourselves a steal. And also too, before we move on, I just have to say, Darren, if you do win that $1 million, I know we talked about this before, but thanks, man, for splitting it 50-50. Okay. Your guy. And I appreciate that. I really do.
I don't remember that conversation, but yeah. Good one. Yeah, I have a few more little tidbits from that Jokic talk. Let's see. So there have been 44 MVP awards announced since the merger of the NBA and the ABA. 17 trophies have been awarded to number one overall picks, led by LeBron James. He's won 4. Magic won 3. Kareem won 2. Tim Duncan 2. Shaq, David Robinson, Walton Iverson, and Derrick Rose all won MVPs each. Between draft picks number 2 and number 5, we've got Michael Jordan with 5 MVP awards. Charles Barkley, Kevin Garnett, Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook, and James Harden all have 1 MVP award each. The draft picks between 6 and 10, Larry Bird, 3 MVPs, Steph Curry 2, and Dirk Nowitzki has 1 MVP for himself. The picks between 10 and 14, we've got Karl Malone winning 2, Kobe Bryant and Julius Erving 1 apiece, MVP awards. And then down outside the lottery, we've got Steve Nash and Giannis Antetokounmpo with 2 MVPs each. And Moses Malone in the ABA, just before that merger, he won 3 MVPs, and he was picked much down the road. But yeah, pretty cool, pretty amazing, and incredible for him to be able to rise to the top, shine this year, especially with Jamal Murray going out, being able to, still persevere on and win this MVP. It looks like he's got it and has the Nuggets rolling. Even though Jamal Murray proved last year how valuable he is, the Joker still is able to keep alive and not be double teamed enough to eliminate him. He was dominant in that last series for sure.
Oh yeah, he was definitely dominant. And again, like I've always pointed out to you, he had more than 1 assist in that win, the last win against the Blazers. He had 6 assists, 36 points, 8 rebounds.
Right.
But as long as he doesn't just have 1 assist, that he's got the ability to win the game.
Yeah.
He's got the ability to win the game. But they're going to be up against it tough because the Suns actually do play like defense. So yeah, it's going to be a completely different series for the Nuggets.
Yeah, we talked about Portland a little bit, and them needing some help from Dame. Getting some defensive help would be crucial. Terry Stotts was fired yesterday. I was kind of shocked by that news. Were you?
Well, yes and no. Again, I think the organization was probably thinking to themselves, they probably needed to change or to go in a different direction because the defensive rating was just so atrocious for years under Stotts, and he never was able to get that under control or make that better or just anything of that nature. Their offensive rating was through the roof. It was always the best in the league, but their defense is atrocious.
Yeah.
You need to do something about your defense. So I think, yeah, they'll probably get in a coach that obviously their offensive system works, but they need a coach that really has to bear down on their defense and ask more from these guys or get more players that can actually play defense for the Trailblazers, because it's clearly their Achilles heel. They can score, no doubt about that, but they need to D some people up. They need to get stops when they need stops, and they just haven't been shown to be able to do that so far.
Orlando Magic also decided to move on from their coach, Steve Clifford. Moves on after a pretty abysmal year, 21-51. I guess the only thing that we should touch on before we move on is what do you see in this Clippers Jazz series now? Their first game is Tuesday night, 7:00 our time.
Oh man, it's gonna be a great series. It's gonna be a great series. This series has the potential to do exactly what the Clippers Mavs just did, go 7. I believe that the Jazz are a better team. I think the Jazz come out victorious and they win this series. I really do. I think the fact that their 3-point shooting is just so lethal. Well, actually for both teams, but I think Jazz in the regular season were a better 3-point shooting team than the Clippers. I think it's really close between the two. But I think also too, I think the Jazz are just rolling. I think they are offensively and defensively as a unit, as a team, they are rolling and they're rolling well. So I think the Jazz come out of this particular series as the winners, but it's going to be a dogfight. It's going to be tough because the Clips have Kawhi, and that guy's really, really good.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, he's proven it again. I thought, yeah, Dallas really had a shot to knock him off there. They just had to win one of those last two games, but yeah, Dallas just needs one or two more guys, and then they'll be able to compete with the top teams in the West. Okay, we're going to move on to the UFC next. They had a big card on Saturday night that we can break down. I do want to talk about our partners and sponsors briefly before we do that. So let's talk about Anchor, a great partner and sponsor for Complete Sports Media. Fantastic on posting on multiple podcast platforms for us. They call themselves the easiest place to make a podcast. So all you have to do is go to anchor.fm and follow the details, and you'll be able to do something like we're doing here. Verbero, the hockey equipment and apparel company. They are an industry leader in technology, performance, and value, and the V350 stick is a must-have for any of the players in your family. Pampas and Possibilities. They design and sell dried florals, do floral arrangements and installations. And Forever Living, the aloe vera company. They grow and manufacture aloe vera-based products for health and beauty. So thank you so much to all of our partners and sponsors as always. And we get to talk about the UFC, which turned out to be a great card. Heavyweights highlighted on this one. And we saw two really rising up-and-comers face off in the main event. And Jairzinho Rozenstruik, he is one of those guys that he just needs one shot and he can change the whole entire complexion of a fight. He was able to finally land that glancing blow on Augusto Sakai, put him down, ground and pound him a little bit, and it was over. End of the first round. It kind of reminded me of his Overeem win, where he just decided, 10 second, he could hear the 10-second clapper and decided, I better finish this off right now. And he sure did.
Yeah, he really did. Like it was clearly, to me, it looked like a feel out round between both guys, where there's like, okay, I'm just going to try to get your timing and stuff like that. And I'm like, okay, well, I guess this first round's going to no, the fight is over. I was shocked because he literally pounced on him in the last 10 seconds of that round. And I'm going to say, I think a lot of fighters kind of take their foot off the gas because they know that the round's about to end, big deal. Whereas with Rozenstruik, he's just like, good. We won't be expecting this. I'm going to blitz him now.
Yeah.
Right. And he did that and he got him out of there. Like, I honestly didn't think he had enough time. No. But I guess he knows better than I do because he knows the power he has in his hands. He's like, no, I got more than enough time.
Yeah. I thought it might have been a little bit of an early stoppage, but when they showed Herb Dean up in front of Sakai, as Sakai was standing up, he actually started wobbling. Yeah. He really wasn't able to stand without help of the fence. So I'm like, okay, well, I didn't see that at the time because, the shot, he hit him with the left, hit him with the right. It was kind of a glancing blow. He went down. I guess the shots that he landed on the ground were powerful enough to really wobble him. But did you see what I was talking about? He really staggered when he stood up.
No, I saw that. I saw the staggering, but I do remember off the replay, once he hit him with the left and the right was what put him down. He actually hit him behind the ear, which would mess with the equilibrium, right? And so he falls over, and then that dude punching you on the ground when your defenseless kind of sucks. So that's when Herb is just like, okay, or he dies. Let's get in there. And Herb is one of the best, I think, period, just as a ref doing his stoppages. He could clearly see, I'm going to need to stop this because as we saw then after, the results of that was he can barely stand. Good stuff. Good stoppage.
It turned out to be a really good stoppage. Sakai, he's a big boy. He, I think he's a really good fighter, but once that shot hit him, he wasn't able to stand, and then he was gone. Rozenstruik just said, I want a top 5 guy. He has lost to Francis Ngannou and Cyril Gane, two of the biggest boys out there, and obviously Francis, the champion. Who should he fight? Who do you think the UFC is going to put him up against coming up?
Could be Volkov.
Okay.
It could be Volkov because I believe out of the top 5, he doesn't have a fight yet.
Nice.
So it could be him. I'd put him up further up, but I don't know if anybody's available. I guess Stipe is there too as well, but I don't know if they would give him Stipe either.
Right.
You know, so I'd say Volkov might be the best bet out of all of those guys in the top 5.
Good call. Yeah, very good call. He got $50K for the knockout, and it was one of those ones where you were thinking, okay, I guess one of those boring kind of feel out fights. It's just going to go into the intermission between the rounds, and we'll hopefully we'll see some better performance in the second, and then bam, it's over. That was very stunning for sure.
Yeah, it was shocking. It was shocking because I was about to go and like just grab something to drink because I'm like, okay, I guess this is over. So, and then all of a sudden I'm like, oh no, it actually is over. Like the fight is over.
Yeah,
it happened quite quickly, so it was cool.
Quick, yeah. The co-main event was fun. Wow, Walt Harris came out and had Marcin Tybura in all sorts of trouble, in a world of hurt. He really rocked him and had him. He was unloading on him like crazy. It's amazing that Tybura was able to withstand it and remain in the fight, and then turned it around, got him down, and was able to get the victory. It was a really phenomenal comeback, and he really proved that he's tough and he has a huge chin.
Yeah, and unfortunately for Walt, this has happened to him before. He'll hunt for the knockout because if he has his man hurt, he sees blood in the water. But unfortunately for him, he has to remember these guys are super tough and they're really hard to put away, man.
No.
And so I think once you're in the midst of that excitement, you have to pull it back. And he has to pull himself back and be like, can't burn myself out right now. And especially if this guy manages to get me to the ground, because that's clearly been one of Walt Harris's weaknesses, is that he has a hard time trying to get back to his feet when he gets taken down. That's in his Achilles heel. That's something that he definitely needs to work on going forward. Like he needs to work on his takedown defense, or he needs to work on getting back up immediately once he gets taken down and not accepting the position.
Yeah.
Because once Tybura got him down and then all of a sudden took his back, flattened him out, and then that was all she wrote. And to Tybura's credit, the man can take a punch. My goodness. Like some of those punches that Walt Harris gave him, most heavyweights are out of there. But Walt Harris has to remember, now he's fighting the best of the best all the time. Yeah. So even how powerful his strikes are doesn't necessarily mean these guys are going to get out of there, because they're just as tough, just as well skilled. So I think he has to learn to take it back a little bit so that he gives himself some breathing room, some space, because if you can hurt him once, you can hurt him several times after that. He has to remember that.
Yeah, I feel like he just wanted to empty the gas tank and take him out. But, I think if you're right, if he would have stepped back, landed some more shots at distance, Tybura was going to go down and, be out. But he gets a little too excited. He put himself in a vulnerable position, was taken down. He once Tybura had his back, it looked like he wasn't able to get that hook in, but once he got that hook in, flattened him out, it was over just like that. Mark Smith just jumps in and ended it. And it's disappointing because Walt Harris's story, and you cheer for the guy. You really want, some good things to happen, but that happened with him against Overeem. That happened here. He's got to work on that ability to get off the ground and get back at distance so he can land some of those heavy shots again, because he is so tough on the feet.
Oh yeah, man, and he's got plenty of power. That's clearly obvious. Like, so, just getting back to his feet, the takedown defense, and two, this cardio. Just work on those three things, and I think the sky's the limit. But he needs to shore those weaknesses up for sure.
That's the 5th straight win for Tabora. He'll have a top 10 ranking now. He was number 11 going in with Walt the Big Ticket Harris at number 8. So good for him. Enters the top 10. He'll be facing some incredibly tough heavyweights going forward. I want to talk a little more of the main card, but I do want to jump in right now and let's talk about Tanner Boser. He fought on the prelim card, and our Canadian friend of the show, recent guest here on a podcast episode. He faced Ilir Latifi, and by all accounts, from everything I've seen on online social media, everybody except 2 judges thought that Tanner Boser won this fight, and it's disappointing because he came in 3-1 in his UFC career until these last 2 defeats. I guess will be really super disappointed that he got this loss, but he can't let it go to the judges anymore. It's just they're not favoring him. What do you think of it as a whole?
I had him winning the fight too as well. It was extremely close, but I had him winning because Latifi. The one thing with Latifi is, like, once he gets you to the ground, like he's a barrel. He's a barrel of a man. Like, he's a beer barrel. Like, it would be incredibly. It's easier for me to say all he's got to do is like battle and get to his feet. That's a hard dude to get to your feet back upon. Like that guy is super heavy, and like his center of gravity, like all that pressure on you. And to Boser's credit, he did battle back to his feet.
He did in that first round, yeah.
In that first round. And I was just like, oh, that's actually pretty impressive. And the other thing with Latifi that I've always noticed is that when he does get you to the ground, he's more of a position type guy. He's just going to keep you there. Boser really didn't take that much damage when he was down there. No. That was the other thing. Yeah, because, okay, so if you have the top position, and then you're going to give credit for him for doing that, but if he's not actually doing anything with the position, then you can't give him any more credit than that. Yeah. It's just him taking the position and laying on it. And that's what he did. And so I'm like, well, that's not going to win you the fight. Like, he's not even doing any damage or anything. And Boser was like, when he was on his feet, he was the busier fighter, and he was the more efficient fighter. Yeah. And I think when you take that into account, I thought Boser should have won the fight. Yeah. To be honest with you, I really did. And when I heard the judge's judgment, I was like, and you see Boser's response to the judges, and he was disgusted with it, because he's like, no way, man, I shouldn't have lost that fight. And I completely agree with him. I don't think he should have won.
Yeah, no, it's unfortunate that one takedown, a bit of control is going to win that round for him, because Boser was, really light on his feet. He was hitting him with harder strikes. He was keeping away from any damage on the feet at all. The only thing that Latifi did was take him down and hold him down for about a minute, but did nothing in that position. So, every normal person that's watching that fight sees that Boser won that round, won the second round. Latifi probably wins the third round because he has control almost that whole round, but you're up 2 rounds to nothing. You're not able to win if you don't when it goes to the judges. So it's shocking and disappointing, and it's frustrating when you're really hoping for a guy and you really think that he did it, and it goes to the cards and it goes the other way. It's just got to be devastating for a guy like that, his whole camp, everybody that's worked hard on getting him there. And, it breaks down because of a couple judges, see a takedown as, oh yeah, that won the round. It's just really crazy. And let's hope we can see a complete shift. We can get new judges in there that, can really see what you and I see and what a lot of the, experts see, in this community. It's just happening almost every card. We're questioning these judges' scorecards, and it's changing guys' lives. Like this could lead to the UFC saying goodbye. We don't want you part of our organization anymore. And it's wrong. It's completely wrong.
No, it absolutely is completely wrong. And also, too, I want to point out the fact that a lot of these judges come from boxing circles. They weren't raised in the MMA world, so what they know is boxing.
Yeah.
So if you know boxing, then how are you judging MMA? Know what I mean? Yeah, like it's not, it doesn't benefit the sport whatsoever. So hopefully at some point in time that is rectified, because boxing judges should do boxing matches.
Yeah.
MMA judges should do MMA.
Exactly. Yeah. He took to social media, and I think it was Twitter that he asked Dana White and the matchmakers, please give me one more shot. He has one fight left on his contract. He wants to fight next month. He said, I'm not hurt, got no damage. Let me fight. Please let me go out. If I lose, see you later. I'm done. I'm moving on. But he wants to get right back in there and avenge this. Do you think they give him a shot right away?
I think though. I think so, actually. I think he's genuine and he's honest. And Dana White, for all his faults, he does like people that are upfront with what they want. And he usually tries his best to give them what they want. So I think he gets his wish. I think he will get a fight within either next month or the month after, but it will be pretty quick.
Yeah. I texted him a little bit earlier in the week and wished him good luck. He texted me back, said, thanks a lot. I appreciated that we had a little communication fight week. I don't usually like to bug fighters much during fight week. It's so much on the go, and usually, and especially guys that aren't in the heavyweight division, if they had a cut weight, it's painful and pretty irritating to be having to deal with anybody. But it's nice to be able to reach out to him. He responded back. I reached out to him late last night. After the fight just happened, I didn't want to bug him for a while. I wanted to, for him to be able to process it and, sort of start getting over it. But I texted him late last night and sent him, a message via social media and stuff like that. A lot of people had taken to social media and said, you were robbed. I can't believe it. This is wrong. You won that fight. It was all very favorable for him. Hopefully he's able to bounce back quick. Hopefully we're able to get him on. I don't want to just, talk to winning fighters. I want to talk to guys that are going through their ups and downs in their careers. And, eventually when they become, top 5, top 10 champions, things like that, we were there all the way through thick and thin. So hopefully he'll come on and be a guest with us very soon.
Yeah, I hope so too. And I do hope that the UFC finds him an opponent quick so that he can get back on the winning track, because that fight was egregious. Shouldn't have lost.
Yeah, it's brutal. Yeah. Okay. Where else would you like to go on this card? I definitely want to talk about the Ponzinibbio Baeza fight of the night, maybe fight of the year. One of those amazing battles. You want to start there?
No, actually, I wanted to start with the one fight that I was actually really pissed off at. I didn't like the way that it was refed, and that was the Delitse Staropoli fight.
Right.
I hated that fight because I thought Michael Bisping was absolutely right in his assumption of, why isn't the ref breaking that nonsense up against the cage? Because that's all the fight was. Delitse hugged him, had his back, and kept him up against the cage. And I'm like, that's not a fight. You can't do, like, what are you doing?
No.
This is garbage.
Yeah.
This is garbage.
Sure.
And I understand what I know that Dominic Cruz is playing a little devil's advocate with what he was saying, which is, no, well, if the guy can't get out of that, then, and I'm like, yes, but what is this? Is
What
this
is
giving
it? Yeah, it's just hugging,
entertainment? He's
not
hugging
fighting,
him
hugging.
against the cage. I don't want to see this crap. I don't want to see this.
No.
So that seriously bothered me. That seriously bothered me. And I think the ref, if you're stalling, because that's what I call that stalling. If you're stalling like that, you gotta break it up the fight, start him in the middle of the cage, or sorry, in the middle of the octagon, do it again. Right? Yeah, do it again. So I just wanted to mention that. Yes, the leads they won. Great, awesome, good stuff. Okay,
Well,
let's
that's why that's why I sort of glossed over it, because it wasn't fun. It was a very
no.
big fight, and
Oh,
there's nothing much to talk about other than what you said. So, good point. But this welterweight battle between Ponzinibbio and Baeza was wow, what a battle! I couldn't believe how much Ponzinibbio took damage to his leg, but continued on. Man, two tough guys that just really were in a battle, and one of my favorite fights I've seen in a long, long time.
I thought Ponzinibbio was not going to win this fight. Like I'm looking at the first round and I'm like, Baeza is destroying his lead leg. That calf was absolutely annihilated.
Yeah.
I still can't believe he was able to keep fighting on it. Like I was just like, what is this guy made of? Wow, this is impressive. And then with his compromised left calf, because I think it was always his left leg that was front forward. In the second round, he came after him, which I was just like, what is happening right now? He's coming after him, pushed forward through the pain. Ponzinibbio showed me so much heart that I haven't seen. It's rare to see somebody push through like that and just say, I'll take 4 to get 1. Like and that's what his mindset was. He goes, I'm just gonna keep going forward. I think I can break this guy. And then to Baez's credit, didn't break.
No,
He didn't break. He didn't break. This was a fantastic fight. But what was even better about this fight was what Ponzinibbio had to say after his win, after this amazing win, which was the fact that I had a staph infection, that turned into a bone infection, which turned into me almost dying. Jesus. What's a couple little leg kicks gonna do? What's that gonna do? Nothing. Wow. Like you're gonna have to kill me to get me out of there today. And I was just like, it was pretty obvious. Yeah, man. Like, that was something else. That was something like superhuman for him to go and do what he did. Amazing fight.
You and I say this pretty much on the breakdown of every card. These are tough human beings. It's almost like they're not human. It is amazing the punishment that they can go through, the life challenges that come their way, life-threatening illnesses, and they can still come in and put on performances like this. It's just incredible. These are some of the most elite athletes in the world, and they just put on amazing displays every weekend. It's just incredible to see stuff like that.
Yeah, it is like, again, I just didn't think Ponzinibbio had it in him, because you saw how compromised his leg was. Like even when he's moving around the ring, you're like, that's not good. I don't think his movement pattern wasn't normal. It was super awkward, like because he was super hurt. And then he's in the second round, he started really landing his jab and getting into the boxing range and starting to really land on Baeza. But to Baeza's credit, he still kept his composure and was firing back. Like that was one heck of a fight. And Baeza should not be disappointed in his effort whatsoever. Yeah, that was his first loss, but look at what the guy had to do to actually win against you.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
So incredible. He called out Vicente Luque after the fight. Luque is number 5 in the division. He's on a 3-fight winning streak, beat Woodley, Brown, and Nico Price in his last 3 battles. Man, I would love to see that one. I hope they can put that together.
That would be great. I'm just going to say this to Ponzinibbio. Check them leg kicks, buddy, because you're going to have another steady diet of those coming from Luque as well.
Yeah.
He's gonna have to start checking some leg kicks.
Yeah, geez, you can't take punishment like that every time and come
No.
back because man, yeah, those leg kicks were freaking deadly. I was like, uh-oh, yeah, Ponzinibbio, he can't survive this, but yeah, super, super tough. Yeah, Baeza, phenomenal first loss. What a young up and comer, and yeah, I look forward to seeing him soon.
Oh, yeah, man. Like, yeah, I definitely look forward to seeing his next outing because it took that kind of effort to beat him. It took that kind of effort to beat that guy. And he's going to grow from that. He's going to learn from that too. He's going to be like, all right, well, I can't beat them all. And then sometimes I'm going to have to exercise even more ridiculous effort to get the win because that guy got the win over me because he literally wanted it more. Like I remember at one point in time, I think it was Bisping says, who wants it more? Who's going to dig deep? And then Cruz is just like, I'm just waiting for somebody to fall over. And nobody's doing that yet. Like it got to that point where they were just like so tired and still swinging at each other. It was awesome. Great fight.
Awesome. Yeah, it was so great. Yeah. Okay. We're running out of time, but do you want to talk any more about this main card? That Tudorovic and Rodriguez fight, two super powerful guys. RoboCop, I was shocked. He is really, really, really powerful. Those guys both had 17 finishes in their 19 victories coming in. So I thought this was going to be somebody going to sleep, but it went to a decision. Rodriguez taking it. These guys both are big for that division. Oh man, they were powerful guys.
Yeah, they were big. I was super impressed with Rodriguez's UFC debut. I thought he put together a masterful win. I thought his stand up was great, even though Todorovic has this weird head movement where he slides back all the time. Yeah. And so Rodriguez actually adjusted pretty well, I thought, and followed it up. Jab first, miss, and then follow up with another punch. You know what I mean? So that he would get to his head. But again, Todorovic has one heck of a chin. They both do. They both did. And they showed that. Great hard fight and a great win by Rodriguez. Because at the end of the day, Rodriguez's stand-up was the difference in this fight.
Yeah. On the prelim card, it was really too bad that Mason Jones, Alan Patrick fight. Mason Jones had a spectacular first round and had Patrick in all sorts of trouble. Really tough to see that eye poke ended up making it a no contest. That was too bad finish.
Yeah, that sucked because Jones was definitely well on his way to a win. And I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, I think the guy was playing it up. No. And the instant replay, you could clearly see the finger go kind of deep into the eye socket. Yeah. So, yeah, that was a good call. No contest. It's unfortunate for Mason Jones, but the other thing that I want to say about that particular fight, and Bisping actually alluded to it, fingers up, I think that was the rule. Nah, man, fingers not at all. Like those should be, if you have to put out your hand as a rangefinder, it has to be in the shape of a fist. Yeah. No more fingers up, no more fingers up, like fist. That's it. Yeah, that's what I think. Because I think that rule is ridiculous. It shouldn't be in there.
No, it's we're seeing way too many eye pokes and fights having to be stopped and guys compromised, starting to be blinded in one eye. And, Michael Bisping's had to undergo eye surgery because of eye pokes. And, we've seen too many problems with it. So, they've got to, stop that and, penalize guys severely so it stops. We can't have guys finding range with their hands going out like this. It can't happen anymore. Yeah, it can't. So a lot of decisions on the early prelim card. I liked a lot of the fights. There's a lot of really good up and comers coming there. I love that first fight of the night, Claudio Puelles against Jordan Levitt. I thought the Monkey King was going to take it, but El Nino from Peru was phenomenal. He was really good on his takedowns and was able to keep Levin in the compromising position. Got the better of him. Lots of action on the ground. Really good grappling exchanges there.
Yeah, no, there was great grappling exchanges, great scrambles between the two. And yeah, I agree with you. I kind of thought the other guy would win, but well, there you go. There you have it. Yeah. I did want to point to one other fight that I really did enjoy, because I really loved watching this particular guy fight. And that was Salikov versus Trinaldo.
Right on.
Salikov, that dude is a master at his striking on his feet. Like, he is absolutely amazing. And I thought Trinaldo would be overwhelmed by him. Not even close. He was not overwhelmed. That dude, it doesn't matter who he fights. And if it doesn't matter, like, he didn't win this fight, but Salikov is going to feel every bit of that the next day. Because he beat him up. They beat each other up. But when you fight Trinaldo, know this: you're going to be sore the next day. You're going to get beaten to get that win. And that was not an easy win for Salikov, but he still pulled it out with his technical superiority when it came to his striking. That was the difference in that fight. And again, like I said before, I just love watching the guy fight, because he has no tells when he strikes. Even when he throws his spinning back kick, there's no tell for that. You never know when it's coming, and it's super fast and quick and accurate. So.
Yeah, no, you're right. That was a hell of a good fight. And two super tough guys. Trinaldo, super veteran, and he definitely beat the other guy up a lot and lost the fight, but man, what a performance. Okay, wrap on this UFC performance. They are heading to Phoenix next Saturday for UFC 263. And there are two title fights, two rematches in title fights on the docket. The main event has Israel Adesanya against Marvin Vettori. There was a lot of trash talk between these two guys. They faced each other before, and it ended in a split decision for Adesanya. I think Vettori really lost that fight. I don't know why one of the judges gave it to him, but do you see Vettori being able to even one-up him this time and take the belt for this go-around?
I think it will be close. I think it'll be a closer fight, but I believe Adesanya still wins this fight. I believe I think the results will still be Adesanya. Might not. Well, I don't know if it'll be a split decision, because I agree with you from that last fight. It shouldn't have been a split decision in the first place. Like, that was ridiculous. So, I'm kind of curious to see the new wrinkle that Vettori brings into the ring, though, into the octagon for this particular fight. Like, I'm very curious, because if I'm Vettori for myself, I take this fight immediately to the ground if I can get a hold of him. I take him to the ground, because that's the path of least resistance. That's the path. That's the way to win this fight against Adesanya. Take him to the ground and beat him up.
Sure.
So I would imagine that Vettori is going to try that, unless he wants to go mano a mano and just try to stand up with him, which I think is the wrong idea. I think it's completely wrong idea.
Yeah. Yeah, well, after Adesanya beat Costa so badly last time, I see Vettori in that sort of similar type of fighting style. Adesanya's confidence level is just rising through the roof, and the last style bender just is so elusive. He's such a great striker. He just has incredible footwork, great fast hands. I see him having the advantage, and I don't see many of these guys being able to compete with him, but Vettori has that puncher's chance. He's a tough guy, has probably learned a lot after his last loss to Adesanya, and we'll see. We'll see what his camp utilizes the game plan. Hopefully, it'll be a really competitive, great battle. The co-main event has Davison Figueiredo against Brandon Moreno, 2, and a hell of a fight they had last time. Really, really amazing battle. Ended a bit in controversy, obviously. What do you think we're going to see this time?
This is what I do hope. Number one, first and foremost, that both guys are absolutely healthy and there's nothing holding them back from the performance of their lives, because I think it's pretty clear nobody's backing down, nobody's backing up in this fight. This is going to be a barn burner. I absolutely cannot wait for this fight, because that first fight was so ridiculous in scope. Like, it was just so ridiculous. So I am super looking forward to this fight. I think I'm going to give the slight edge to Figueiredo, especially knowing the troubles he had in the first fight, how compromised he actually was.
Right.
And so as long as he's healthy, I think he wins. But by no stretch is this going to be an easy win. No. That dude is super tough, Moreno. He is not an easy out. Figueiredo better be prepared for this. I'm not probably going to be able to knock this guy out. Yeah. This is going to be a 5-round war, and I need to be prepared for all 5 rounds, because that's how tough this dude is. I tried it before, didn't work. Now I'm super healthy. I still don't think it's going to work because that guy is just that good, and he's just that good. Like, he has that Mexican heart, that Mexican warrior spirit, where just like, you're going to have to kill me to get me out of here. Well, I'm still going to be in your face for the entire fight, which is what Moreno's going to do. He's going to be right in his face the entire fight. It's going to be an excellent fight, man, and I can't wait to see it.
I can't wait to see it either. Yeah, these are 2 really great rematches, and that first fight was a hell of a fight. One of the fights of the decade, and something to behold. I'm super happy they're running it back, and it'll be fun. Yeah, it'll be really fun. I think it'll be a 5-round war, like you said, and it's razor thin. I don't know. I'd hate to put money in either guy, because you really can't see too much difference between both these guys. They're both incredibly proficient and super, super tough. So, okay, we've also got a ton of great fights on this card. This is a really, really hell of a stacked card. Leon Edwards, Nate Diaz. We haven't seen Nate in a while. It'll be fun to see him back. Leon Edwards, has been doing really fantastic in his career lately, and this will be a great, great fight.
Yeah, and hopefully no weird eye pokes or anything like that to derail this fight. And it's always great to see Nate back in the octagon. Yeah. Well, it's always great to know that Nate made Dana pay him money so he could have to fight. Like, I actually get great joy from that, because Nate is Nate. He's just like, well, I'm not going to fight unless you pay me like a lot of money, Dana. Nice. And so that's pretty cool. And I can't wait. I think this is going to be a great matchup. It's going to be a great matchup, man, because we haven't seen Nate for quite some time. Maybe he has some new wrinkles to his game, but this is one thing you can absolutely guarantee. He's going to bring the fight, and it's going to be great.
Yeah, it's going to be so great. We've got Damian Maya, Bilal Muhammad. That's a hell of a great matchup. Paul Craig, love his accent, love his fighting ability. Jamal Hill is his opponent. Prelims, we've got Drew Dober fighting Brad Riddell, hell of a lightweight battle. We've got Lauren Murphy, Joanne Calderwood, great women's flyweight fight. 2 really tough girls in that one. We've got the Canadian Hakeem Dawodu against Movsar Evloev. Man, those 2 guys are phenomenally tough. Huge amount of fights on this card. We've got Canadian Alexis Davis fighting Panine Kanizad, and we've got Frank Camacho. Chase Hooper's back, the youngest fighter on the UFC card, the youngest guy that they ever signed. Jake Collier, man, like, just on and on and on and on. Great, great, great fights on this card. I cannot wait.
Yeah, it's a great card that they put together, and yeah, it's gonna be a good one. It's gonna be a good one. I hope that most of our listeners are able to watch this particular UFC pay-per-view event, because it's gonna be good.
Yeah. Can't wait. Let's do it. Speaking of cards, there's one tonight. I don't know why Sunday, weird night to have a card, but there's a boxing exhibition going on tonight between one of the greatest of all time and Floyd Mayweather. He's fighting, a complete idiot and Logan Paul, and they decided to put this together, this exhibition boxing match, pay-per-view from the Hard Rock Miami Stadium in Miami, Florida. Like I hate even giving them any airtime at all, but I am, I guess. Will you be watching?
No, I will not be watching. I've had to have this conversation with a very good friend of mine, because Neil, his name is Neil. He loves this stuff. He's like, oh, I can't get enough of this. This is so cool. And I'm like, I'm just absolutely disgusted by it. Like I've said it before and I'll say it again. I think it just does boxing a disservice. I think it goes to the point of, how people think that boxing is a little bit corrupt.
Yeah.
Well, it kind of is, because you got this YouTuber who doesn't actually have any sort of like legitimacy in the boxing world, but he's able to get in because of his notoriety, right? And then, but at the same time, I have no idea how he's able to raise all this money. I still don't get where all this freaking money is coming from. I don't know how he's doing it. And I can't blame Floyd Mayweather, because Floyd Mayweather, at the end of the day, is a very savvy and smart businessman. He's going to make almost, I don't know, I think anywhere between 80 to 100 million for this 8-round exhibition fight. Yeah, if you're just going to throw money away, I'll take that money. Thank you very much. Yes, so that's smart on Floyd's part, but I'm sorry, I don't support something like this. I just don't, because it's not boxing to me. If I'm going to see boxing, I'm going to watch like what was on like last month with Canelo Alvarez and Billy Joe Saunders. I'll watch that kind of stuff because that's boxing. This is just farcical entertainment. Tiger King in a boxing ring. Like, that's what this is.
Yeah.
Like,
They have a couple of actually legitimate fights on this card, but I'll just tell you those quick, and then I'll tell you the rest of the card. It's just unbelievable. Like, I don't even know why they would put, a lot of these fights on, but Badou Jack is fighting in light heavyweight against Dervin Kalina. Kalina's 15-0 with 13 knockouts. Badou is 23-3-3, 13 KOs. Light heavyweight battle there. A super welterweight fight between Jarrett Hurd, who's 24-1 with 16 KOs, and Luis Arias he's 51-14. Huge experience, obviously, a 10-round fight. But those are the only two legitimate fights on this card. Chad Ochocinco is fighting debut. He's fighting a guy named Brian Maxwell, who comes in 0-3 in his career. So tough opponent for Chad, but I don't even know why Ochocinco's doing this. I guess money, it probably needs it. But those are the 4 fights that are on the main card. They have untelevised prelims, so who knows if we'll ever get to see any of these, but we probably don't even want to. There's a guy fighting on this card. His record is 5-12-1. He's fighting a guy who's 4-0, trying to, move up in undefeated ranks. There's many guys fighting on this card that have never fought before. 2 fights to start off the night. All 4 competitors never have been in a boxing ring fighting for any legitimate cause at all. I'll just crazy, weird prelims. I don't even know where they find all these people, but a ton of guys that, barely have ever fought. We've got records of 1-0, 1-1, 2-0. The main fight in the prelims is a guy named Gene Torres, 18-0 with 14 KOs, fighting a guy 10-7-1 with 5 KOs, Zach Kuhn. But bit of a farce. I don't know why I would have mentioned it. I figured you probably weren't interested to see it, but it's getting press, it's getting money, it's getting things thrown at it. We've been told that Tyron Woodley is Jake Paul's next opponent, and he's already, or Logan Paul, sorry, his next opponent. Um, Man, yeah, so bizarre that these things keep happening, and yeah, I really wish that it wasn't, because it is giving boxing a bad name, and boxing has had enough troubles over the years that it doesn't need more of this.
Yeah. But at the same time, boxing's always been about one thing, the almighty dollar.
Yeah.
Does it make money? Perfect. Put it on. And for whatever reason, hey man, I guess I'm more of a boxing aficionado. I like to watch the real guys go to work. And I don't blame those other two, the two fights that are actually with real boxers. They're probably looking at it from the standpoint of eyes on their fights, and then also too, maybe they get a little bit of the pay-per-view money as well, so
Yeah.
they get a little bit more.
Hopefully, yeah.
So, and I'm all right with that. It's just unfortunate that you're on that, because I'm not going to watch you. I'm not going to watch that. I'm just not. I'm not going to spend my hard-earned money to watch that.
Yeah.
That's for other people to do that. So I would prefer that the real boxers just go on real cards. You know, just go on the big super fights and stuff and do that. Because Badou Jack has been on those fight cards, and he should be on those fight cards again. Yes, that's where I'll watch you. That's where I'll watch you do your craft. I refuse to watch this.
No.
I'm not a fan. It's not me.
Well, anybody that wants to watch 15 minutes away from the card starting, so you know, if you like Tiger King in a boxing ring, here you go. That's a wrap to this episode. We had a lot of fun. Obviously, it's the playoffs our NBA playoffs are so great. There's been some phenomenal games coming down recently. Great to see these matchups. As these better and better teams are emerging, I'm excited about what's ahead. And the UFC was great this weekend, but next Saturday, holy cow, don't miss it. One of the best cards I've seen. 2 title fights and stacked card throughout. Let's hope there's no fall offs out of this card, and we get to see an incredible event from Arizona next Saturday. Thanks,
I really hope that there's no COVID doesn't rear its ugly head to ruin any of these fantastic matchups. I am looking forward to it, and I'm especially looking forward to the little guys getting after it, because that will probably be your fight of the night.
Yeah,
that will probably be your fight of the night. I said it here. You heard it here first, people.
Yeah.
That's your fight of the night.
I don't think you heard this, but yesterday I received some shocking news. There was a golf tournament going on, and one of the golfers, his name is Jon Rahm. He's a Spaniard. He was leading the tournament by 6 shots, coming off the 18th green after the 3rd round. Walked up, and a couple of guys came out of the crowd, stopped him, started talking to him. He bent down and he started weeping. And a lot of people had no idea what had been told to him. A lot of people were really scared and worried that, if some family member had some health trouble and there's been an accident or something. He was informed that he had tested positive for COVID and was kicked out of the tournament, had to withdraw immediately. And his 6-shot lead, his $1 million check that was almost being written, 1 round to go, 6-shot lead. That was it. He was gone from the tournament, and COVID reared his ugly head, and he was out and into quarantine. It was pretty crazy and shocking news around the sporting world yesterday, and tough for him.
Yeah, I did hear about that, and I was just like, wow, like how first off, I was kind of like, how did they not catch it quickly enough? Like how did they not catch it? But then again, at the same time, that's what this particular virus does. It's hard to catch at times. And it sucks that it cost him literally $1 million check that he was about to win, because that's probably the best he's played all year. And then that's what happens to you. So I hope that once he gets through his COVID and everything else, that he comes back and he wins one of these tournaments, because he definitely deserves that. After going through this nonsense, yeah, he deserves that. And I understand that's what they had to do. Like, I get it. I get
Yeah.
it. It sucks that it had to happen to him in that way.
Yeah, I guess they had contacted him earlier in the week and said he had come in close contact with someone who had tested positive, so they needed to test him. They had tested him day after day after day, negative, negative, negative. And all of a sudden, third round in, it was insane that, they finally found a positive test and said, see you later. I don't think they handled it well, though. I think they should have done it in a private tent or an area where he left after he left the course. They could have, just had him go and tell him then. But yeah, it was really tough to see. And this is on the heels 2 weeks away from the US Open, just about to start. And he is one of the favorites going into that. But sitting in a hotel room for 2 weeks while you're quarantining probably is not getting you ready for this upcoming major tournament. And so he's going to have a hard uphill battle to compete and at the top of the leaderboard on that tournament too. So it cost him $1 million probably yesterday, and probably, probably could have cost him much more going out further. But let's hope he's healthy. Let's hope his whole entire family and everybody surrounding him can recover really quickly from this. And it was one of those things that sort of sent shockwaves through the sporting world yesterday, and was pretty surprising to see it happen right in front of your eyes.
Yeah, especially with the fact that he had such a commanding lead,
Yeah.
like such a commanding lead. Like, anybody else could have got it. You know what I mean? Like, anybody else could have got it who's maybe in the background, but not the leader, not the guy that's like, well, he's on one. Looks like he's gonna win. Wait, he's not? I got a chance. All right. Like it sucks. It sucks. It sucks for him. And I want to say, no competitor wants to win that way.
No.
Nobody wants to win that way, because whoever won that tournament was like, well, I won, but I probably shouldn't have.
Yeah, no kidding. Crazy. Okay, man. Well, yeah, I heard you got a dinner to go to. So, hey, man, I appreciate it as always. It was fun. I'm glad we could do it a little bit earlier. I'm heading off for a couple of day vacation here. So really looking forward to that. So have a really great week ahead. Have a nice dinner tonight. I know how much you love food. So you put on a big smile, bring some Tupperware, put on your stretchy pants, and go do us proud.
Yes, I'm going to do all of those things. So thank you very much. And you have yourself a great holiday over there on the island.
Thanks, buddy. Okay. All the best. All right. Take care. We'll talk soon. Okay.
All right.
Cheers, man.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Okay. Wow. Yeah, we had a long conversation today. That was a lot of fun. Great to talk basketball and mixed martial arts as always with Jason. Hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. Hope you've enjoyed the Complete Media Network. Please go to completemedianetwork.com and you can get access to the whole entire network, all of our platforms, all of our websites, all the fun we're having. Support some of the great people that have taken the time to be guests for us. We've had some fantastic guests recently. Thank you so much to Nick Mather, Corey White, Empress Sunbow. We've got fantastic people coming up in the coming weeks. So yeah, appreciate your support as always. Love you guys so much. Thank you. Take care of yourself. Have a great week ahead and stay safe. Bye for now.